Hello everyone, welcome back to my B&B Today spoiler channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. The Bold and the Beautiful B&B spoilers update for Monday, August 24th, reveal that Melissa Dillon, Sydney Bullock, will jump at the chance to make Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, forget his troubles. Steffy Forrester Finnegan, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, and Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, will also have to tackle another problem now that Ridge Forrester, Torsten K., has barged in on their confrontation. Although Steffy doesn't think she can handle the guilt of keeping such a huge secret from John Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, wants her to keep quiet. If Steffy comes clean about her betrayal with Carter, so many lives are going to blow up. Now that Carter has reunited with Daphne Rose Walton, Muriel Hilaire, he doesn't want to ruin his marriage and their plans for a family. Carter doesn't want Steffy to lose Finn or for Ridge to throw a fit either, so he feels the only option is burying their cheating. However, Steffy and Carter weren't anticipating that Ridge would rush through the door after hearing the commotion. Ridge can tell there's some serious tension exploding, so he's wondering why in the world Carter and Steffy would be blasting each other at the office. You can bet that Ridge won't leave without some sort of explanation, so Steffy and Carter will have to give him one. Carter and Steffy could make up a story about not seeing eye to eye on a business deal, but Ridge might be skeptical. A better option might be for Carter to claim he's been pushing Steffy to take Finn back and fix their relationship. Carter might play up how Finn and Steffy are meant to be, just like he's meant to be with Daphne. Maybe Carter will act like he's just passionate about true love and doesn't want to see Steffy walk away from a good thing. No matter how it all goes down, it looks like Steffy and Carter will keep Ridge in the dark on any news about their sizzling night. Even so, Ridge may have a hunch that something feels off, even if he can't quite put his finger on it. At the beach house, B&B spoilers say Will's going to be more receptive to Dillon and her comfort. Since Electra Forrester, Lania Grace, is spending so much time with R.J. Forrester, Brian Nicoletti, and shutting Will out, he'll decide to give Devon all his attention. Dillon will go for a night swim with Will before they use the outdoor shower together. That'll involve plenty of kissing, but they may take their romance to the next level once they move things inside. The last time Dillon spent the night at Will's place, they just made out and fell asleep on the couch. Now Will and Dillon seem poised to fully do the deed, so stay tuned to see if Dillon will finally get her wish. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Dillon still has some hurdles ahead when it comes to a potential future with Will, but she'll keep fighting for the man she wants. Buckle up, Bold and the Beautiful fans, because Monday's episode did not play around. If you thought Los Angeles's most dysfunctional fashion dynasty had already hit peak chaos, think again. Because Monday, August 24th cranked the drama dial to 11 and left jaws on the floor from the Forrester Creations steps all the way to the Spencer Publications penthouse. Dillon and Will are stirring a pot that was already boiling over, and Carter and Steffy just told the biggest lie of their lives, straight to Ridge Forrester's face. Grab your popcorn because this one's a doozy. The calm before the storm. The episode opens deceptively quiet. Sunlight streams through the windows of the Forrester mansion, and for one fleeting moment, it almost looks like peace has broken out in this family. Ridge is at the kitchen island nursing a cup of coffee, flipping through fabric swatches for the upcoming fall line, humming to himself like a man who has no idea his entire world is about to tilt on its axis. That's the thing about Bold and the Beautiful mornings, they're never as calm as they look. Brooke breezes in, kisses Ridge on the cheek, and the two share one of those loaded glances married couples share when they both know something is off but neither wants to be the one to say it first. "You've been distracted all week," Brooke says, sliding onto the stool beside him. Ridge shrugs it off. "Just the collection. Fall preview is in 10 days and half my sketches are garbage." Brooke doesn't buy it for a second, and honestly, neither do we. Because across town, two separate conversations are happening that will make Ridge's fashion line stress look like a walk in the park. Dillon and Will, partners in crime. Cut to Il Giardino, the restaurant that has hosted approximately half of this show's pivotal confrontations over the decade. Dylan is already at a corner booth, tapping his phone screen with far more intensity than a brunch menu requires. When Will slides in across from him, there's no small talk. These two get straight to business. "Tell me you didn't actually go through with it," Will says, dropping his voice even though the restaurant is nearly empty. Dylan doesn't answer right away. He orders a coffee. He straightens his silverware. It's the kind of stalling B&B does so well, stretching a single beat of tension into a full minute of screen time. "Finally, I did." Will's eyes widen. "Dylan, do you understand what happens if this gets out?" "I understand exactly what happens," Dylan snaps back. "Which is why it can't get out. Not yet. Not until we know for sure." What it is remains delightfully, maddeningly vague for the first several scenes, classic bold and the beautiful pacing, designed to keep you glued to the screen. But what becomes clear fast is that Dylan and Will are now bound together by something big, something that involves paperwork, a private investigator, and, from the way Will keeps glancing over his shoulder, something that could blow up multiple relationships at once. The two of them argue in hushed, urgent tones. Will wants to come clean immediately. Dylan wants to wait, insisting that timing is everything and that one wrong move sinks both of us. It's a classic B&B odd couple dynamic. One character all nervous energy and conscience, the other cool, calculating, 3 steps ahead. By the end of the scene, Will reluctantly agrees to hold off, but not without a warning. "You've got until the end of the week, Dylan. After that, I'm telling the truth whether you're ready or not." Dylan just smiles. It's not a comforting smile. Steffy's office, closed door. Meanwhile, over at Forrester Creations, Steffy Forrester is pacing behind her closed office door, which, if you know this show, is never a good sign. The blinds are drawn, another dead giveaway. Nothing good happens behind drawn Forrester blinds, and when Carter Walton slips inside a moment later, he locks the door behind him. "We need to talk about what happened," Carter says. Steffy's arms are crossed so tightly it's like she's trying to hold herself together. "There's nothing to talk about. It didn't happen. Not officially." "Steffy." "No." She cuts him off, voice sharp. "If my father finds out about this before the launch, everything falls apart. The company, the family, all of it." This is where Monday's episode earns its clickbait title, because what follows is a masterclass in soap opera rationalization. Carter, ever the voice of reason turned reluctant accomplice, tries to talk Steffy into transparency. He reminds her that Ridge has forgiven worse. He reminds her that secrets on this show have a shelf life of approximately 11 days before they explode in the worst possible way, at the worst possible family dinner, in front of the worst possible number of witnesses. Steffy isn't hearing it. "You don't understand what's at stake," she says. "If Dad finds out I let this slide, that I knew and didn't stop it, he'll never trust me with this company again. He'll never trust me, period." Carter goes quiet. And in that silence, viewers can practically see him deciding, right there in real time, to go along with something he knows is a mistake, because that's what Carter does. He's been the moral compass of this cast for years, and he's also been talked into more cover-ups than arguably any other character not named Quinn. "Fine," he finally says. "But if he asks me directly, Steffy, I'm not going to sit there and lie to his face." Famous last words, Carter. Famous last words. Ridge starts asking questions. Naturally, this being bold and the beautiful, Ridge doesn't wait long to start sniffing around. He shows up at Forrester unannounced, as fathers/company patriarchs on this show are contractually obligated to do, and the moment he steps off the elevator, you can feel the temperature in the building drop 10 degrees. He finds Steffy first. She's got her game face on, the practiced Forrester poker face that's been passed down through generations of this family like an heirloom, but Ridge has spent decades reading his children's tells, and something in her posture stops him mid-stride. Everything okay with the fall line? He asks, testing the waters. Everything's fine, Dad. Steffy. He says her name the way only a soap opera father can, equal parts warning and worry. I know that voice. That's your everything is definitely not fine voice. She holds his gaze for a beat too long before answering, and it's genuinely one of the tensest silent exchanges the show has given us all summer. It's just stress. Fall collection stress. That's all it is. It's not all it is. We know it. Ridge, deep down, probably knows it too. But he lets it go, for now, because he's got somewhere else to be, Carter's office, where round 2 of the interrogation is about to begin. Carter's almost confession. If Steffy's scene with Ridge was tense, Carter's is downright excruciating, in the best way. Carter is a character built on integrity, a former district attorney turned company man who has spent the better part of this show trying to do right by the people he loves even when it costs him. So watching him squirm under Ridge's questioning is appointment television. Ridge doesn't even sit down. He just leans against the doorframe of Carter's office, arms crossed, and asks the question point blank. Is there something going on with Steffy that I should know about? Carter's jaw tightens. This is the moment. This is the moment where the whole show is holding its breath, waiting to see if Carter, good, honest, do the right thing Carter, is finally going to crack. He doesn't. Nothing that concerns you, Ridge, he says, and every word of it costs him. You can see it in his face. This isn't a smooth liar delivering a smooth lie. This is a man who has never been comfortable lying, doing it anyway, and hating every second. Ridge studies him for a long moment. You've never been a good liar, Carter. I'm not lying. You're doing something. I don't know what it is yet. But I will. And with that, Ridge walks out, leaving Carter alone in his office to absorb the full weight of what he's just done. Thrown in with Steffy, tangled in a lie that's only getting bigger, and one step further from the man who spent years building a reputation on being the one person in this cast who wouldn't do exactly this. Dylan makes his move. Back across town, Dylan isn't wasting the afternoon. Whatever this mysterious it is, he's using the pause Will granted him to dig deeper, and Monday's episode finally starts pulling back the curtain, just enough to tease what's coming. We find Dylan at what appears to be a records office, speaking in low tones to a clerk about expedited processing. He hands over an envelope. The clerk raises an eyebrow but takes it anyway. Money, it seems, has changed hands or is about to. When Dylan steps back outside, he's on the phone immediately, and this is the line that's already got fans buzzing. It's done. Once this clears, there's no version of this where Ridge doesn't find out. The only question is whether he hears it from us or from someone else. Who is he talking to? The show cuts away before we get an answer, which is exactly the kind of cliffhanger tease Bold and the Beautiful lives for. But the implication is clear. Whatever Dylan set in motion is connected to Steffy and Carter's secret, and it's coming for Ridge whether anyone's ready or not. Will's crisis of conscience. While Dylan is out there pulling strings, Will is falling apart in real time. We catch him at Spencer Publications, staring at his phone, thumb hovering over a contact, presumably someone he's debating whether to call. Katie walks in on him mid-spiral, and in a nice quiet character beat, she doesn't push. She just sits with him. You look like you're carrying the entire building on your shoulders, she says gently. Will lets out a long breath. Have you ever known something you weren't supposed to know? Something that, if you say it out loud, changes everything for everyone. Katie's expression softens with recognition. This is a woman who has lived an entire lifetime of bold and the beautiful secrets, after all. More times than I'd like to admit. What are you going to do? I don't know, Will admits. Dylan wants to wait. I don't think we should. But if I go around him, I don't know what he does next. He's not exactly predictable right now. It's a small scene, but it does a lot of work, reminding us that Will isn't a co-conspirator out of malice. He's someone in over his head, trying to do right by people who are all currently doing wrong by each other. Katie tells him, in classic Katie fashion, that the truth always comes out on this show eventually, and that it's almost always better coming from the people who care rather than the people who don't. Will doesn't answer. But you can see the gears turning. The dinner table trap. And then, because no Monday episode of Bold and the Beautiful is complete without one, we get the family dinner scene. Ridge has called everyone together at the mansion, ostensibly to talk fall line logistics, but it's obvious from the moment the scene opens that this dinner has an agenda. Brooke senses it. Steffy senses it. Even Eric, seated at the head of the table in his usual quiet patriarch mode, senses it. The tension is so thick you could cut it with the butter knife sitting untouched next to Ridge's bread plate. Ridge waits until dessert is served, because of course he does, this is peak Forrester theater, before he sets down his fork and looks directly at Steffy and Carter, seated across from each other like they didn't coordinate their seating to avoid exactly this kind of eye contact. "I'm going to ask this once," Ridge says, "and I want an honest answer. Is there something going on between the two of you, or something the two of you are hiding from me?" The table goes silent. Brooke's eyes dart between her stepdaughter and her husband's most trusted attorney. Eric sets down his coffee cup very, very slowly. Steffy is the one who answers. "No, Dad. Nothing's going on. It's a clean lie. Practiced. The kind of lie Steffy Forrester has told 100 times over the years when she's convinced herself it's for the greater good." Ridge turns to Carter. "Carter." And here's where Monday's episode delivers its titular gut punch. Because Carter, the man who told Steffy just hours earlier that he wouldn't lie to Ridge's face, looks his boss, his mentor, his friend dead in the eye and says, "She's telling the truth, Ridge. There's nothing going on." The lie lands like a slap. Not because Ridge storms out or explodes. He doesn't, not yet, but because of the look that crosses his face for just a split second before he nods and picks his fork back up. It's the look of a man who knows he's just been lied to, choosing, for tonight, to let it slide. "Okay," he says quietly. "Okay. But we all know it's not okay. And we all know Ridge Forrester does not let things go. He circles back. He always circles back." Dessert gets interrupted. Just as the table starts to relax back into forced normalcy, Steffy's phone buzzes. She glances down, and her face goes pale in a way she can't quite hide fast enough. Not from Brooke, who's sitting right beside her and definitely clocks it. "Everything all right?" Brooke asks, low enough that only Steffy hears. Steffy mumbles something about a work email, and excuses herself from the table, phone clutched tight. Carter watches her go, and the moment she's out of the room, he can't help himself. He pulls out his own phone under the table and fires off a text, clearly to her, clearly urgent. Ridge, of course, notices. Ridge notices everything. He doesn't say anything. He just watches his daughter's empty chair, and watches Carter's thumbs move fast across his screen, and files it all away for later. The hallway confrontation. Steffy doesn't get far. She makes it to the hallway outside the dining room, phone pressed to her ear, when Carter catches up to her, having made his own excuse to leave the table. "What is it?" he whispers urgently. "What did the message say?" Steffy's hand is shaking slightly as she turns the phone toward him. We don't get to see the screen. The camera stays tight on their faces, another classic B&B tension trick, but whatever is on it drains the color from Carter's face too. "This can't be real," Carter mutters. "It's real," Steffy says, and for the first time all episode, her composure cracks completely. "It's happening, Carter. It's actually happening, and we just lied to my father's face about it 20 minutes ago. We have to tell him. We can't. Not now. Not like this. Steffy, if this comes out on its own." "It won't." She cuts him off, but her voice wavers on the word, like she's trying to convince herself as much as him. "We just need more time. More time." The most dangerous two words in the Bold and the Beautiful vocabulary, and every long-time viewer watching Monday's episode felt their stomach drop right along with Carter's. Dylan closes in. The episode's final act cuts back to Dylan, and this is where Monday truly earns its amp it up billing. Dylan meets Will again, this time not at a restaurant, but somewhere more private, more serious. Will arrives visibly agitated, having clearly spent the day wrestling with everything Katie said to him. "I talked to Katie," Will says immediately. Dylan's expression hardens. "You told her?" "No. Not everything. But Dylan, I can't keep sitting on this. Every hour we wait, it gets worse. If Ridge finds out we knew and said nothing." "He's not going to find out," Dylan says, "because by the time he does, it'll already be handled. I've made sure of that." Will studies him. "What did you do?" And this is where Dylan finally lets a little of the mask slip, just enough to remind us why his name is right there in the title alongside Will's. "I made sure the truth comes out on our terms, Will. Not Ridge's. Not Steffi's. Ours." It's a chilling little button on the scene, delivered with the kind of quiet confidence that tells you Dylan has been playing a longer game than anyone around him realizes, Will included. Back at the mansion, the episode's final moments return us to the Forrester mansion, where dinner has wrapped and the family is drifting apart for the night. Ridge finds a moment alone with Brooke in the kitchen, drying dishes in that low-key domestic way this show occasionally likes to remind us Ridge and Brooke can still have. "You noticed it too, didn't you?" Brooke asks. Ridge nods slowly. "Steffy and Carter. They're hiding something. Are you going to push it?" "Not yet." Ridge sets down the dish towel, and there's something steely in his eyes that longtime fans will recognize instantly. The look of a Forrester patriarch quietly deciding to handle things his own way. "But I will find out what it is. One way or another." The final shot of the episode lingers on Steffy, alone in her office once more, staring at her phone with an expression somewhere between fear and resolve. Her reflection in the darkened window behind her almost looks like a second person standing over her shoulder, a nice bit of visual foreshadowing for whatever bombshell Dylan is clearly about to detonate. Fade to black. Cue the dramatic B&B outro music. Cue every fan on social media losing their minds within about 90 seconds of the credits rolling. What it all means going forward. So where does Monday, August 24th leave us? Let's break it down. Dylan and Will are now fully entangled in something big enough to threaten multiple relationships across this canvas. Something involving paperwork, private investigation, and a deadline Dylan set for himself that's ticking louder by the scene. Will's conscience is fraying fast, and if Katie's quiet nudge lands the way these things usually do on this show, don't be shocked if Will breaks ranks before Dylan's self-imposed timeline runs out. Carter and Steffy, meanwhile, have crossed a line that's going to be very hard to walk back. Lying to Ridge outright, not by omission but directly to his face at the family dinner table, is the kind of soap opera sin that always comes due. And with Ridge already suspicious, already watching, already quietly resolved to dig until he finds the truth, it's not a matter of if this unravels. It's when. And that when might be sooner than anyone at that dinner table expects, because somewhere out there, Dylan is already pulling the string that connects his secret to theirs. Whatever hit Steffi's phone at dinner, whatever drained the color from her and Carter's faces in that hallway, has Dylan's fingerprints all over it. 3 storylines, 1 collision course, and Ridge Forrester standing right in the middle of it, patiently waiting for the truth to come find him. Because on this show, it always does. Final thoughts. Monday's episode was a masterclass in the kind of slow-burn tension bold and the beautiful does better than almost anyone on daytime television. Nothing exploded outright, no screaming matches, no dramatic reveals in the literal sense, and yet by the time the credits rolled, it felt like the ground had shifted under every character in this story. That's the show's real magic trick. Making a quiet lie at a dinner table feel as high stakes as any courtroom showdown or paternity reveal. Carter's forced lie to Ridge is going to haunt him. You can already see the guilt eating at him, and this show has never let Carter get away with compromising his integrity for long. Steffi's desperate bid to protect the company, and her father's trust in her, may end up costing her exactly that trust the moment the truth surfaces. And Dylan and Will's secret, whatever it fully turns out to be, is clearly the fuse connecting to the powder keg Steffy and Carter just planted at that dinner table. Buckle up, B&B fans. Based on Monday's setup, Tuesday's episode is shaping up to be an absolute must-watch. Ridge is suspicious, Dylan is closing in, Will is one conversation away from cracking, and Steffy and Carter are standing on a lie that's got an expiration date written all over it. The only question left is, who breaks first, and who's standing there when they do? Stay tuned for more bold and the beautiful updates as this story continues to unfold.